Hi, everyone. I'm your host today, Tom Reber, on Making a Difference. We have a great guest today, Susan Chappelear, an author of a wonderful book, Skyler and the Moonstone Medallions.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
How did that happen? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
This whole thing started because I had a very challenging child. And we went through a whole series of things to help our child.
Yeah.
And I just thought one day I would write a book to help other moms.
Wow.
And so I cataloged everything and saved everything. And then when the time came to write the book, I realized everything was completely outdated and irrelevant.
Life changes.
So yeah, it didn't take me very long to get into the research to discover that plan was not going to work. And but I did know that the one thing that doesn't change, regardless of time frame, is how it feels to be a mom of a kid that's struggling.
Yes.
So I knew I had a story, I just didn't know what it was. And my husband wrote the book, The Daily Six.
Right.
And when it was being translated at one point, someone said, wouldn't it be great if there was a book like this that could help kids with positive change?
Wow.
And that was my aha moment. So it was just, that's what I need to do.
So this is really from a kid's perspective.
This is a novel for kids. It's a fun story. It's not really self-help, and hopefully they won't even know there's a message. It's a fun book. It's a group of kids. They're all struggling with different issues.
Yeah.
So I think most middle schoolers could find themselves in one of the characters.
Yes.
There's bullying, there's loss, there's anger, there's health issues, there's all kinds of things. And
wow, Susan, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then there's Miss M, who's the drama teacher, and she takes this group of kids under her wing and teaches them that they have power. Because kids that age feel like they have all kinds of things they have to figure out.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to even talk about it.
Right.
And so she leads them through an adventure where they discover these powers.
Wow.
So she's not teaching, she's showing.
Yeah. She's professing. She's able to give a visual of what's happening.
She takes them on a tour. This is set in Washington, D.C., Washington metropolitan area. I spent a lot of time there. So that's where it's set. And she takes these kids to the botanical gardens, and she takes them to the Kennedy Center, and she takes them to all these different places.
Institute.
Yes, indeed. She takes them there.
Yes. Wow. Susan, as an author, how'd you get started into that? What made you wake up one day, I'm going to write a book?
Well, I just had this idea of writing a book. One of the problems, like I said, was the information I had was not relevant. The other was, I realized if I was writing a book for kids, it needed to be a story. It needed to be a novel. And I didn't know how to write a novel.
Yeah.
So I got involved with the Shantyboat Writers. Are you familiar with them?
No, tell me more.
That is a group, Lynn Skapyak Harlan, who is very much a part of the literary.
Yes, I recognize the name.
Yes. Well, she had a shanty boat, literally a shanty boat on the Trout River, where she taught people who wanted to learn how to write.
Wow.
So I worked with her for the full 12 years. I was developing this book. She taught me everything I know. She edited the book.
Yeah.
I keep in touch with a lot of the other authors that she also mentored.
Yeah.
And it was a brutal but very worthwhile experience.
Wow, that sounds like a phenomenal journey.
It was. It was so magical being.
You probably didn't even want it to end.
No, the boat sunk during one of it. So that was sort of the end of the shanty boat.
Yeah.
Lynn is still doing her thing, and but I can't even describe how wonderful it was to be on that boat.
Have you had feedback and success stories from the book?
I have. I've got a very high rating on Amazon.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine had a niece, a 10-year-old. That's a hefty book for a 10-year-old.
Oh yeah.
But this is a child who's on the spectrum who read the book, and her comment was, it made me it gave me ideas to calm myself down
Yeah.
when I was anxious about things. So
Wow.
this 10-year-old got right into the message. Aside from all the skateboarding and all the
Yeah, yeah,
fun
yeah,
that goes on
yeah.
in the book, she got the message.
Wow.
And so, and lots of parents and
I was about to
teachers,
say, parents probably are really getting
parents,
some
teachers,
mental relief. Yeah,
counselors.
counselors.
And I'm just a mom, so it's not like I'm holding
But you
myself out
relate.
as, yes. And I think they can take this book and it will give them a way to talk to their kids about these important issues, because it's all about inner powers. It's all about willingness. And it starts with willingness because you need willingness
Right.
to do anything. And it ends with action because you have to have action to do anything.
Wow.
And in the middle, you have quiet time and love and forgiveness and service and gratitude.
Wow.
So these are universal tenets,
Yes.
but kids don't know they have access to those powers. And that's what Miss M teaches them.
How did you come up with Skyler and the Moonstone Medallions name?
Just a long process. She's always been Skyler. In fact, my editor at one point said, I think we need to change her name to something else. And I tried, but she has always been Skyler. So my
That's a
characters'
unique
names
name.
haven't changed. The other names in the books are grandchildren.
I
So
love it.
all my grandkids are named in there.
Wow. Well, Susan, it sounds like to me you're touching a lot of people. And I do. I have 3 grown kids, 33, 30, and 27. I remember 5th to the 6th grade transition was horrible.
It's brutal.
Oh, it was horrible. Hormones kick in, changes, size, shape, questions.
Yep.
And you don't know what's going on in their mind.
I know.
And it's hard to diagnose what's next. One of my favorite questions I ask people, not only on my show, but there's what's next. And then you kind of go, but with a 6th grader, what's next? And they're like, I don't know. The next period.
Right.
They
Exactly.
really don't, or I've got to be home, and it's hard to understand. What is your real question? I'm trying to help you unlock that. And it sounds like you were doing that.
If I had had that book when my child was young, I would have read it with him.
Mhm.
I would have
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, because I enjoyed reading with him
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
And so we would read Harry Potter
Yeah.
because he was at that age where he
Right.
came up with Harry Potter. I would have read that with him
Wow.
because he wouldn't pick that up and read it on his own.
No.
But he would listen to it, and the thought is a child would listen to it and get engaged.
All right. I'm going to ask you my famous question. What's next for you?
Well, like I said, 12 years on this book.
Yeah.
I'm an interior designer professionally,
that?
so I work full time.
Yeah.
And getting the message of this book out is also a full-time job.
Good.
And my husband is helping me with that.
Good.
I think it's an important message for kids. And I think
phenomenal
parents,
message.
because I think this is a tough time.
100%. I think you're spot on. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in today. Susan Chappelear is a phenomenal author. Come check out our book, Skyler and the Moonstone Medallions, right here. You can get it on Amazon.
It's at Bookmark in Atlantic Beach. It's at the library.
Awesome.
It's on the Bookmobile, Donna Deegan's Bookmobile. So we're getting it out there.
You're doing a great job, Susan. Guys, if you'd like to learn a lot more about Susan Chappelear, author, I'd like for you to go to dailynewsnetwork.com and check it out. Thank you all for tuning in. Cheers.